the 70s, and I remember getting in there. And Dougie Mackay was the senior VP, and I walk in the door. There, I don't know what building it was on Bay Street, and he says, "Well, I'm here for the training program. Like you said, I should come to Toronto and be put me on the training program." He says, "Great, kid." He says, "You're here for a month." He says, "You just start one door over there, work yourself around the 3 floors we have in this building, and when you know everything, go home and make us a bunch of money." And that was the training program.
That was the training program.
That was the training program.
You got to sort of wander in and work in that office for an hour?
We worked with the bond traders and then worked with the stock traders.
What a marvelous situation.
But it was a great group in those days in the 70s. You know, the brokerage industry in those years was unowned by banks. So they were risk takers. We were a small group. You worked hard. You know, it's a creative environment and so forth. Anyways, that was my early years, and I spent, almost 20 years in the brokerage business, managing offices in Western Canada for a couple of the larger companies, brokerage companies in Canada. And then I had decided...
Well, you actually got up to vice president of a couple
well,
of
there's,
brokers.
in the brokerage business, everybody...
Lots of vice presidents.
It's a bit of... It doesn't mean much other than it doesn't mean more money, let's put it that way.
Well, it's better than just being a guy in this...
It's something you put on your business card,
yeah,
right?
put a vice president.
But I really wanted to manage money. I spent 20 years managing, and I decided that, and this would be in
at this point, you were... you wouldn't have discretionary.
No, I spent 20 years. I didn't have a discretionary ticket in those years. I was just purely an investment advisor.
Everybody understands the discretionary ticket means that you hire your broker, or your broker makes decisions for you within the parameters of your contract with the broker.
Right.
And most stockbrokers are not allowed to.
Yeah, I think it's a good analogy when you think about it is when you're buying or selling real estate, you hire a broker to buy real estate or sell real estate for you, as opposed to owning assets, and you hire a property manager to manage those assets.
So you're the property manager of the assets. You buy and sell.
Right. So somebody would say, "Listen."
Did you ever run into Alan McFarlane?
The name is familiar.
Yeah, he does what you do over in Victoria. And again, Alan was one of my greatest tax consultants for about 3 years, and one of those lulls in the situation when he came from Toronto. I don't remember what the fancy company he was with there. But.
Yeah, so that's the difference. And so to be a portfolio manager registered in Canada, you have to have certain qualifications. One of is the Chartered Financial Analyst designation, and this is a 3-year program. It takes, it's a global program out of the United States. It's kind of the global accreditation of money managers.
So you get recognized everywhere at that. So
it's a
somebody from Texas would recognize it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. For sure. Most people from Texas wouldn't recognize a Canadian designation like the Fellowship of the Canadian Securities Institute or something of that nature,
the Canadian Banking Association,
or the Canadian Securities Course. They could care less, but the CFA, they know what it is. It is the
just to put, I got to say, we had Don Walsh working for me again one time too, and he was one of the founders of the Investors Group, and a fellow of the Canadian Banking Association, and it was real cool to have Don in our office. He was there until he was 85.
Yeah.
Really cool because he was there when it happened. He knew everybody and everything. He was the elder.
He was the senior statesman.
Yeah, that's who you need. You need a bunch of us senior statesmen around.
Yeah, so the CFA is pretty much any research analyst you see for a money management firm or a portfolio manager with any accredited sort of name brand money manager will be a CFA.
So, but you still got to spend an extra 3 years or so doing it.
Well, it's a tough go. They only pass, it's a global exam once a year, first week of June. The failure rate, I think, in last year was... I think less than half pass globally. Everybody writes at the same time. The survival rate for that course and that designation is you seem to be tightening it up year after year after year. Anyways, that's standard, I guess.
Like 1 out of 5 people that start to finish it.
Yeah, it's a divorcer. Yeah,
it just separates the men from the boys.
The one difference that I have is I decided to produce. This is the Chartered Financial Analyst designation is very research-orientated, fundamental research. You bust apart balance sheets and income statements
and for real value,
cash flow analytics and stuff like that. So fundamental number crunching sort of analytics. I decided, and the late 90s that there was more to it. Something that has always been a passion of mine since the early 80s was the whole art of technical analysis. And I
is that what would usually be called a chartist?
A chartist is part of it. But the parallel association there's to the CFA Institute, which gives the CFA charter, is the Market Technicians Association in New York. And they have a program, which is a global one, called the CMT, or the Chartered Market Technicians Test, a very small community. And it is a 3-year equivalent, sort of tough, once-a-year exam, globally written, to earn this Chartered Market Technician. In both degree instances, you have to do a couple of years of apprenticing. You don't. It's like a chartered accountant. You have to do apprenticing, not only the academics.
You got to be an intern for a while.
You got to intern. So I finished that off in the 90s, and there's not that many of us that are combined CFA, CMT.
How many would we find in BC as a matter of interest?
2 or 3.
2 or 3 of you.
I was probably the first. Maybe there's 2 or 3 of us in Canada.
2 or 3 in Canada, not just BC.
There might be. I know there wasn't one time.
Well, no wonder Americans can feel confident in dealing with you.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly have the American designations that are well recognized in the United States.
Okay. Let's take a break for a couple minutes.
Yeah.
Just going to clear our throat and have a glass of water.